I mean, there are a lot of hard things that I am facing right now, but most of it you're fairly aware of because you are very in tune with me. Like a big thing is just transitioning professionally. So entering this entrepreneurial lifestyle, it's a challenge. Um, there's not many guarantees. I feel like the only guarantee is that there's going to be much uncertainty. Yeah, so I have been in the school system for the last 3 to 4 years. And I've been like a teacher assistant. I've been at a behavioral school, and then an actual English teacher. Kind of stepping away from the school system due to, I mean, if I'm just being blunt, it's a very toxic work environment because there are such high demands with a lack of support and resource. Yeah, I just started to realize that I was struggling with a lot of anxiety as I got higher and higher in that system. I prayed for that. I prayed that the Lord would allow me to get into a position where I could cultivate the classroom culture, because I had been with teachers who weren't necessarily using their authority for the right reasons or with pure intentions, and it really rubbed me the wrong way. So I was just like, God, I know it's going to be a lot more responsibility. I'm nervous, but I was like, God, I really want to do this for you, and I think that these children should have a genuine experience of you and what it means to be in a peaceful environment.
She did that, y'all. She's fire. One of the best teachers I ever witnessed, and I'm not being biased.
Yeah. So I did it, and it was such an amazing experience. Like, shout out to my kids, because I know y'all watching this. I absolutely adore them. Like, I worked with elementary, I worked with high school, and I worked with middle school. And middle school was my last go round, and they were my absolute fave. I love them because they are spunky, they are spicy, they are honest, and that's why a lot of people don't like them, because they're not gonna hold back how they feel or what they're going through. They're awkward, but who hasn't been at a point in their life? And I feel like that's such an integral moment in time to really just boost their confidence and help them to see who they are and to guide them where they ought to be. So it was a phenomenal year. I had kids who weren't in my class wanting to be in my class, and it was just amazing. I used to hit them on every sensory, like smelled good, the lights were dim, we had the Christmas lights, we had the lo-fi music, we had our counseling sessions, and we were learning English, so we were doing everything all in one, and it was just phenomenal. Like, I really enjoyed it. But the other side of it was specifically admin, and like I said, the things that were required, totally unnecessary.
Unacceptable.
Inexplicable. I don't even know if that's the word. Yeah. But yeah, it was just a very demanding job, and it felt like a lot of box checking as opposed to checking in on the human. Now I'm kind of in that mindset of, how can I reach the kids in a less structured environment, or kind of where I can create the standard of what we're allowed to talk about, and what I can actually teach them. Because if I'm being honest, sometimes English stood in the way of their humanity. I would have a lot of kids come in with very, very detrimental situations happening in their lives. Some of them running away from home, some of them having to attend funerals before finals, like smoking. Like, there were so many things that these kids were into, but it was such a limited time to be able to talk to them about those things and really just help them to get clear about the direction of their life. So it's like, okay, you have 40 minutes to teach this subject, and we want you to do this, and they have to be on the computers this amount of time a week, and you know, you have to finish this paperwork, and you have to get, and
They're
I'm
like,
just like,
bruh. The kid's like, bruh, I just lost a friend or I just lost a family member. You expect me to get good grades right now? I care less about these grades.
right.
And then they fail them just because of that mindset.
Yeah, so I just was like, nah, I don't like how they treat my babies. So now I'm kind of really just trying to pour into them from a different standpoint, maybe even volunteering at those schools and doing workshops with them and helping them to just discover themselves on a different level, on a more intimate level. But the startup is hard, you know? It's easy functioning in a system that's already set in place, even if it's toxic. Like, you still know the do's and the don'ts. You still know what time to show up, what's required of you, even though it feels impossible. The system is already set out for you. Taking all these experiences I've had, seeing what worked, what didn't work, seeing what's needed and what I need, and creating my own system. It's gonna take some time and some intentional effort, but I'm here for it, you know, because God says that my gifts will make room for me. So now it's just like faith without works is dead. Like, I gotta put in the work as I have the faith that His word is true. And I have such an amazing partner who has been doing this for years. You know, he brings so much to the table and is so willing to help me create these systems and start these workshops. And we actually had one of our first workshops last week.
Mm-hmm.
Our first paid workshop, working with some kids and just teaching them, you know, how to write poetry and how to express their thoughts and stuff. So that was so awesome, just co-teaching with my man. Like,
Yeah, it was fire. It was dope because I have a background in early childhood education, and she knew about it. That's how, when we first met, we kind of clicked on that. Like, we work with kids, but she's like, oh, okay, huh? And I was like, yeah, huh. But she really saw me in my element being around those kids for the first time, and I saw her eyes just like light up. She's starry-eyed, like, wow, he really do work with these kids like that. And I'm like, hey,
for real though,
for real, like, hey. Nah, but